Mr. Brandon. I have a few questions for him for my project. My first question is, in your opinion, what is the pros and cons of having an athletic trainer team?
I think the pros of having an athletic trainer are having someone there when people get injured. Injuries happen, it's a part of playing sports at any level. So having an athletic trainer there to care for injuries, whether they're as small as a sprained ankle or they're as big as cardiac arrest, we're trained, we're certified to be there and handle those situations as big or small. So, if you have that available, it doesn't get much better than that. The cons to having one, even though I think the pros highly outweigh the cons, it does cost money. So for smaller schools, smaller budgets, that may be an issue. But I think that it's important to have that as a resource for student athletes at every level.
Okay. My second question is, what made you choose this job, as an athletic trainer?
I chose athletic training because I played sports in high school. I never had any major injuries, but I did spend some time with my athletic trainer dealing with various injuries from time to time. And I wasn't going to play sports in college, but I've always loved sports. So I kind of learned that athletic training was going to be my way to stay involved with sports and stay a part of the team, and then be able to provide care for other student athletes when they get hurt.
Okay. My third question, what do you think is the hardest part about being an athletic trainer?
I think the hardest part would be just managing everything you deal with on a day-to-day basis. Depending on how many people you have to work with you could be responsible for every athlete from every sport, knowing what's going on with their injuries, keeping track of who's not able to play, who is able to play, communicating that across all the coaches, communicating with parents, making sure to stay on top of everything and keep track. In working the longer hours that we do, I think that's probably the hardest part, is to kind of stay on track and keep everything organized.
Okay. My fourth question is, how do you keep your composure when seeing such injuries happen?
A lot of it comes with just practice. The more you have experience, the more knowledge you gain, and you kind of learn to handle these different situations as they occur. So some of it just comes with getting to know what to expect, knowing what the protocols are and how to handle each individual situation before it happens, so that way when that situation does happen, you already know exactly how to handle it.
Okay. Number 5, why do you or don't you think players need athletic trainers?
I think all players need athletic trainers. I think that if you were to say that there's a student athlete that doesn't need an athletic trainer around, I think you're kind of fooling yourself. I think the benefits that athletic trainers provide as far as safety and rehabilitation and injury care, injuries are going to happen, like I said earlier, in any sport, so there's really no reason to not have one around. I think every student athlete, regardless of level, middle school, high school, college, professional, they're always going to deal with injuries, and having an athletic trainer around is only going to benefit their recovery.
Okay. Number 6, why can not every school afford athletic trainers?
That's a tough question without knowing the situation for every single school that's out there. The biggest thing I think would just be the budget that they have allotted, whether that's from specific high schools or whether it's through hospitals or PT clinics. Certain parts of the country, certain parts of the state, the budgets at certain schools just may not be big enough to accommodate adding an athletic trainer full-time at their school. I think that it's vital to try and figure out a way to get athletic trainers into every school in the country. But in some situations it's just not quite possible to be there yet.
Okay. My 7th question is, do you think every school should have one? Why not?
Kind of like I mentioned before, I do think every school should have one. Dealing with little injuries that occur, that's great. Helping people rehab sprained ankles or pulled muscles, that's hugely beneficial. But whenever you play sports, you're also at risk for catastrophic injuries, broken bones, cardiac arrest, cervical spine injuries in football players and other contact sports. Those injuries are real and they do happen. And if there's not an athletic trainer there to handle that emergency situation, the outcomes could be very poor for that student athlete. So, I think having an athletic trainer to cover sports in your school is only going to be beneficial.
Okay. And my 8th question is, with or without athletic trainers, how do players be able to cope with their injuries?
I think there's a lot that goes into dealing with injuries. When you have more serious injuries that are going to require you to miss a lot of playing time, having a good support, whether it's from your friends or your family, if you have an athletic trainer at your school that can help you deal with the injury that you're going through, that's crucial. If you don't have an athletic trainer at your school, leaning on your coaches and your teammates to kind of help you stay positive and continue to work at getting healthy and getting back to playing your sport is vital. There's other outside resources, doctors, physical therapists. They may be able to help you understand what your injury is and kind of give you an idea of what your timeline for returning to play might be.
Okay. And my 9th question is, what do athletic trainers go through to be certified?
For athletic trainers to become certified, they have to go to school. They go to college. When I was in school, it was a 4-year undergraduate degree. You had to be in an athletic training program that was accredited by a national board. After you graduated from school, you took your certification exam. That is the same certification exam across the entire country. And once you pass that exam, you are a certified athletic trainer. You've passed your test, you've become certified. Now they are actually changing that process, and in order to become an athletic trainer, you have to go to graduate school to get your degree in athletic training. So they're making all athletic training degrees a master's degree, which adds a couple more extra years of school, and it's a hope to raise the profile of athletic trainers as healthcare providers across the country.
My 10th question is, with all the players you meet and help, is there one you are able to make bonds with?
I think you make bonds with every athlete that you come in contact with. Some athletes that are fortunate enough to not have injuries, you may not have the same bond with them that you do someone who does have injuries, but you still get to know those players, you still get to know those student athletes as people. The athletes who do have injuries, who spend a lot of time getting treatment, doing rehab, obviously you get to learn a little bit more about them, kind of where they're from, what their story is, how their injuries have occurred and how it may be affecting their ability to play sports. And so when they spend a lot of time with you, obviously you get to learn what makes that person tick a little bit more. You build a little bit of a stronger relationship with them just because you spend so much time with them.
Okay. And my 11th question, what was the most memorable injury you have ever witnessed from a player?
The most memorable injury. One that stands out to me in particular was when I was in grad school. I had one athlete who, she was a runner, and she had torn her ACL, and she had injured herself before I got there, so I didn't actually see the injury happen, but I was involved with her through the entire rehab process, and that was really the first time I had taken an athlete who had had surgery, had them recover, helped them get back to playing their sport. So I did rehab with her for 5 months to try and get her knees strong enough so that she could go and compete in a cross-country meet that year. And so that's one injury because it was the first long-term injury that I'd ever really done that for will always stick with me.
Okay. And my last and final question, what is someone who's considering going into the athletic training field should know?
I think something you should know if you're considering being an athletic trainer is it takes some hard work and some dedication to go through all the schooling and everything to become an athletic trainer. But in the end, the reward I think is worth it. I think the opportunity to work with student athletes who have injuries and their main goal is to get back to play, and you help them do rehab and you help them get back to their sport. seeing the look on their face and the joy that they feel when they get back to playing their sport after not being able to. That's what it's all about. That's what really seals the deal and really hits it home that I know I chose the right profession. I know this was the right path for me. So you work long hours. You spend a lot of time away from home, but when you think about who you're doing it for and helping young student athletes get back to their game and seeing that joy, that's what really brings it home.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and thank you.
That's all, folks.